You open this door with the key of reason. Beyond it is another dimension. A dimension of truth. A dimension of freedom. A dimension of joy. You're moving into the land of both the ideal and the real, of the possible and the actual. You've just crossed over into the Capitalist Corner.
Where reason meets reality, welcome to the Capitalist Corner.
Where reason meets reality and Liebowitz attends alone because Mark is working and Jim couldn't make it, so here I am. I may bring in Persephone for backup. We got a lot to talk about here today. First, just remember that we are not associated with the American Capitalist Party. And check out my podcast, The Rational Egoist. You really just ought to. We got a great interview out with James Stephen Valiant right now concerning Murray Rothbard and Ayn Rand. We'll have some stuff coming out in a couple days with Andy Bernstein, probably Sheldon Richman as well, who's pretty great. So just be on the lookout. Check us out. Also check us out. Persephone can post the website for this show. You can check us out there. You can buy our merch, all that good stuff. So I was just having a conversation with Persephone, and I'm interested to know what the audience here thinks about this. I have always hated this saying, it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, because the saying is meant to apply that they're equal things, so what difference does it make? But if it's 6 of one and half a dozen of the other, they're clearly different things. So, for instance, I would much prefer 6 cups of coffee, 6 kicks in the nuts. Which one do I want? I want the 6 cups of coffee. $6 or a $6 bill that I have to pay, right? So they're not the same things. And I'm just curious, what do you think about that? Another saying that has frequently bothered me is have your cake and eat it too, because I don't care to have a cake if I'm not going to eat it. It makes no freaking sense. All right. So speaking of things that don't make any sense, our illustrious president was on with Norah O'Donnell last night and on 60 Minutes. And there was a few things that not just a few, but I'm not gonna make the whole show about Trumpy, right? We're gonna, how about Trumpty Dumpty? I think I've heard that before. Okay, we're not gonna get into that. So for now, a couple things he said. First of all, he was asked about this pardon that he gave for a guy whose name I can't pronounce, so it doesn't really matter. But he's asked about the pardon, and he says, "Oh, I know nothing about that." What? You know nothing about it, dude? You pardoned the guy. And then he says, after saying he didn't know, he says, after he says he didn't know, he then says, well, I was told about this guy and I was told he was treated unfairly. That's the standard? Someone tells you a guy is treated unfairly and you pardon him? That seems kind of insane. And then on top of it all, there's evidence that this guy's company is enriching the Trump family. So there's the pay for play sort of appearance there. So there was that. Then there was this claim by Trump where he says that he could invoke the Insurrection Act and no court can review it. So let's take a look at this from two different angles. Let's first address the factual claim. It's highly disputed. Let's just say that he can just invoke the Insurrection Act and no court can review it. That's a very, very, very controversial claim, to say the least. But if that were the case that he could do that, I would say that law needs to go for sure, and an amendment put in place, because you can't have the president deploying the military on domestic soil and there's no review of it. There's nothing, at all. He also, and I'm curious, I really like to know what people think. He was asked once again if he's going to run in 2028, and he said, I'm not thinking about that. The clear answer is no, I'm not. It's not constitutional, but he refuses to say that. Now, his defenders will, of course, say, oh, he's kidding. He's a troll. My response to that is, well, the president of the United States ought not to be trolling. So there's that. But why would we assume that? I remember when they were talking about bombing cartels, and I would tell people, this guy's saying he's going to bomb cartels. He's just saying that. He did it. This guy's a danger to free speech. No. And then he's threatening to go after media companies, revoking their licenses. So I got to say, when the president of the United States says something, we ought to take it seriously. Like the other day on Truth Social, he put a post out there about, what the hell's his name there? Seth Meyers, I guess, was criticizing him. And Trump says he's 100% anti-Trump, and that's probably illegal. And I was told, oh, no, he's just, whatever. He's just running off at the mouth. And why does it matter? And I said, because the guy has the armed forces at his command is why it matters. And he's shown that he will use them. So, whatever. Still not a Trump fan. Still can't stand him. Big news, right? Catherine Casio says that she does not doubt that Trump is looking into having a third term. It wouldn't surprise me at all. I would find it a very interesting thing, though, what they would say if Trump were to run for a third term under the baseless theory that it's only 2 consecutive terms that you can't have. But, so you could actually run again if then Obama came and ran against him. Oh, I mean, for the love of God, that's all we need is Obama versus Trump. My 2 worst presidents I've ever experienced. 2 people I couldn't stand the most. It'd be like a nightmare. I'd have to just shut off the freaking TV. You got to see Persephone. She's just loving this. She's in all her glory as I'm talking right now. I'm here all alone, and she is just the blush, the everything. It's wonderful. Nicole Hingle says, oh, the horror. Nicole, you actually posted something to X that I wanted to say. Oh, okay. Let's see. Oh, yeah, Nicole, you mentioned Larry Elder. I haven't listened to him in quite some time. I used to really like him. I read his book, The 10 Things You Can't Say in America. I think I read it in 2000 or 2001, and I thought it was a really good book. And I used to like what he would say, but it seems, and I might be wrong about this, I don't follow him. I've only seen a few things, so if I'm wrong, by all means, correct me. But it seems like he's all aboard the Trump train. And I just don't think that's a good thing. I don't think it's a good look. So what's this joker's name here that wants to be the mayor, probably going to be the mayor of New York City? Oh, Mamdani. See, I can say it right. Mark, he's got a little problem. He calls him Mamdani. I don't know why he can't say Mamdani, but whatever. Mark, we love Mark. We can make fun of him as much as we want because he's not here. He can't do anything about it. By the way, Mark and I had a great show this weekend on his Patreon. We did The Self-Made Soul. It was a fantastic discussion. I highly recommend people get a subscription to Mark's Patreon. We do a discussion once a week. It's fantastic. We cover a lot of good topics. I think you'll really like it. And then, if you're not on the Patreon for this show, you missed a great what was supposed to be just a discussion about when America was last on the right track, but it turned into a verbal brawl between Mark and I over Abraham Lincoln. It was quite the debate that, let's be honest, I won. But, Mark thinks he won, and he gets, all wound up with his mustache. So he figured that he won the debate, but I think I won. But if you were on the Patreon, you could have seen it. You could have asked us questions. It would have been wonderful. There's all types of things there. By the way, there was talk about me growing a Mark stash, and it was offered $250 for me to grow the said stash, and I was all for it, but then it occurred to me that Diana may not like the big, bushy Ned Flanders stash, so, and good thing, because I asked her lately, and she told me, yes, you can do that, but then you cannot be seen with me in public. So that might be a problem. But then again, it might not, because I don't really like going out in public. So it might be a win-win. Who the hell knows? I'll tell you what, though. If it got up, like if people kept pushing the issue, if it were to get up maybe around a G, then I'd have a far harder time turning it down. As it was my landlord and closest friend here offering me $250 when I already owed him $150. So if I pay him, all he ends up giving me is $100 anyway. That I'm gonna end up having to give back to him. So it wasn't, Persephone says the videos of the two extra, whatever that is, they're up on, the videos of the two extra discussions are both uploaded to the Capitalist Corner Patreon. You know what I want, Persephone? Can you send me a link of the transcript so I can, see what's what? Okay. So, there's a good article in, Mamdani's in Reason magazine. The title is Mamdani's Socialist Mayorship Will Make New York a Worse Place to Live and Do Business. That is obvious to me. But what I really liked about the article is they mentioned, I think it was by Nick Gillespie, and he says that in any election we usually have two bad choices. In this one we have three bad choices here. We have Sliwa, who I couldn't stand going back to when I was a kid. He used to be on Morton Downey Jr. I used to stay up and watch Morton Downey Jr. When I was a child. There was no supervision. This show was on like 11 at night, and I'm tuning in, so you can already see the upbringing. But, and I didn't like him then. And then we got this jerk off, Andrew Cuomo. And we got the commie Zoran Mamdani. Whoa, Mamdani the commie. I wonder if anybody else has put that out there. If not, maybe we ought to copyright that. Check that out, Persephone. Has anyone called him Mamdani the commie? But anyway, so Nick Gillespie talks about how we have three bad choices. And it just seems to me that in 2000, I supported George W. Bush. Largely, although he largely differed with me on a lot of things, I still saw him as the best option at the time. Then we had, when McCain ran, same thing. And then Romney, I supported him because he was the best option at the time. So, I didn't support Trump. I would have supported Cruz or Rand Paul. But my point is that there's always these bad options. Now, who's to blame for the bad options, right? It's the sainted American people. The sainted American people keep nominating jackoffs, and so we keep getting jackoffs for president. We do not want President Jackoff in the office anymore. We don't want the jackoffs in Congress. We don't want the jackoffs in governors. Are you starting to see the pattern here? We do not want jackoffs in charge of anything. It just doesn't make sense. I bet if you Google, is it wise to elect jackoffs? It's going to say no, but yet we keep doing it. We keep electing these people, right? So it's on us to pick better people. We can't just keep voting for the same people. I mean, I remember all these polls that they used to do, and it would say like Congress as a whole would have like a 20% approval rating. Well, whatever, I made that up, but it's always low around there. But yet, when it came to their own representative or their own senator, people are like, oh, he's doing great. Well, do you think yours is the only one? You think yours is great and the rest suck? Come on, wake up and smell the roses, people. What we need to do is get some American Capitalist Party candidates out there. We need to get them campaigning, and we need to get them elected. There was a lot of good things in this article, but that was the main one that I got. The main thing that I got out of it was, what the hell was I saying now? I switched to look, and then I forget everything that's going on. The main thing I got out of it was how we always have bad candidates to vote for. We always have bad choices. But that is because of us. And when I say us, I'm actually being very generous because it's not me. I've never voted in my life. I've done a lot of running my mouth and a lot of arguing and a lot of debating, but I've never actually voted for the most part because I was engaged in criminal behavior, and then I was in prison, and now I'm not allowed to vote. So you can see why I'm exempt, really, from this blame. So then there's an article in Cato. And evidently, Mamdani the commie, his numbers aren't adding up. And the reason his numbers aren't adding up is because all the spending that he wants to do is he evidently doesn't understand how the tax codes work. And when he raises certain taxes, what will happen and, what the revenues will be. He doesn't get it. And the authors of this article do two things. They do a static analysis, which assumes that, okay, if you raise taxes by $1, you're going to get $1. And they say that, well, even that, it's not adding up. He's not going to be able to pay for the things that he wants. What the hell are they talking about in the chat? Mustaches all day? Oh, my Lord. Okay. But anyway, so they talked about how his numbers don't add up, even if we assume that everything's static. The problem is it's not static, because if he raises taxes to the degree that he wants, that affects human behavior. Like people leave. People leave the state, and now you're not getting their revenue. Or people don't open businesses because it's just not worth it. Or they don't work extra hard because it's just not worth it. So the revenue actually goes down. It's called the Laffer curve. And while it's contentious, the Laffer curve is, I would still say that it seems relatively obvious to me that if you raise taxes, people are going to be disinclined to want to be New Yorkers and they will leave. But however you cut it, you're simply not going to get the kind of money that he needs. But he's a socialist, so we would not expect him to be a math whiz. Now, would we? So Greg Lewis says, whatever happened to if you don't vote, you don't have room to complain? I think that is pure effing codswallop. Greg, and I don't think you really believe that, Greg. Let me just say, I'm not attacking Greg. I love Greg. But it's codswallop. So basically, you come up and you put all these horrible options in front of me, and then you say, no, you have to pick one. No, I don't. I really don't. I don't have to pick anything. I don't have to endorse any of that. If you come to me and say, listen, we are going to kick you in the nose or kick you in the mouth, which one do you want? I'm saying, look, I don't want either. And so I'm not going to choose because they're bad. They're both bad. I don't want that. There's no clearly best option. These people all suck. They're a bunch of grifters, liars who just want their own power enhanced at your expense. But people seem to think that that's wonderful because they assume it's going to be directed at the other guy, right? Oh, the president is just bombing drug dealers. That's fine because we disapprove of drugs. It's horrible. Anybody doing drugs is just a horrible, horrible thing. And I don't want it in my community as they slug down vodka, But where was I going with that? The place I was going with that is politicians absolutely freaking suck. That's it. We should not give people permission to abuse us. We have a new lady in the audience. I don't know the name. It's F. Mormani. She says she never voted in her life either. So that's great. We love when the new audience comes in. Please continue to join us. This next article here that I read about is this dynamic pricing. Now, I want to get, as I do this, I want to get the exact definition of dynamic pricing so I don't butcher things. So let me put dynamic. I know I should have done this earlier, but I'm taking care of 5 dogs, preparing for the show, doing my other job, sweeping up, whatever the hell it is I do. Oh, hi, Francesca. The new lady's name is Francesca. Okay. Defined. This is what I need Mark here for, you see? Okay, so dynamic pricing is a strategy where a product's price fluctuates based on real-time market factors like supply and demand, competitor pricing, and customer behavior instead of a single static price. So, for instance, a restaurant might charge $5 at 3 in the afternoon because nobody's coming there, but for the same product might charge 10 during rush hour. I don't know what the hell's wrong with that. If people want to charge that, based on that, if that's what they want to do, if it's in their financial interest to do so, and if people are willing to pay it, should not be a problem. But lo and behold, some of the Democrats, I guess the Democrats were initially in Maine, probably spreading outwards, is they want to put a stop to this. Heaven for frickin' bid if people should Francesca. Okay, sorry, it's Francesca. Francesca, you're going to find on the show that I mispronounce people's names quite often. And when I do, I usually just assume that is how we're going to pronounce it. And yes, Keithosaurus says Wendy's was talking about that. That's actually who they mentioned. And this is what the politicians want to stop. They do not want Wendy's to be able to do this. So what they're going to do is point the metaphorical gun at the head of Wendy's and tell him, no, you have to not do this. You can't use this dynamic pricing. You cannot act in your own financial interest. And therefore, people cannot get what they want. God, like, I'm trying not to swear. I really am. I'm trying so hard. And I think I'm doing well. But come on. What business is it of yours? If Wendy's wants to do dynamic pricing, if people want it, they'll make money. If people don't want it, they won't. This is what capitalism is supposed to be. We're supposed to be a free freaking country. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, not government protection in the pursuit of the price that I want to pay for a freaking cheeseburger, right? So it's more government, more rights violations, more messing up the economy because they don't allow things to fluctuate based on supply and demand. Again, whose fault is this, though? Right? It's the sainted American people that nominate and elect these people. Until we have a proper rights-respecting culture, a culture based on reason, until we elect politicians who are employing reason, who are protecting capitalism, this is what we will continue to get. I would say that we deserve better, but perhaps we do not deserve better. And again, it's not really we. And it's probably not even the people in this audience. So I'm probably just preaching to the choir because whenever people come on and disagree with me, they just insult me, stomp their feet and leave, which is their right, right? You don't see me saying, I'm in Connecticut here, Senator Blumenthal, who never saw a business he didn't think needed to be regulated some more. So if maybe I should petition him. Hey, listen, I'm not getting enough viewers on the show. What the hell? Can you do something about it? Maybe get Chris Murphy. He went to the same high school. Well, I didn't really go too long because I was thrown out, and that's a whole other thing. But Chris Murphy went to Wethersfield High School. He's my other senator. These guys love regulating. How come nobody's petitioning for me to get more viewers? I once had an argument with a talk show host here in Connecticut who said to me that if private companies are discriminating and not allowing people on their platform, that's violating free speech. And I told him, well, why do you get to choose who you have on your show? So I think that maybe there should be a petition here in Connecticut to get my senators, maybe some local reps. They're campaigning. They got signs outside. I think we got an election of some sort tomorrow. Let's get them all. Let's get the Capitalist Corner some more views. Of course, I'm joking. I do not want that. I never would want it. I would not accept it. I would quit the show before I would have the government doing such a thing. Now, if the audience wants to pay me $1,000 to grow a Mark Pellegrino 70s porn stash, that I'll do. Raising money for the porn stash. Maybe that would be the... Oh, thank you. Persephone sent me the transcript already. That's so sweet. Thank you so much, Persephone. I think Persephone might be a little embarrassed, but whatever. Okay, what else we got here? Mamdani. Oh, look at this. Quarterly ledger. The government is taking in more money. The problem is the government is spending more money. The entire debt held by the public has crossed the 30 trillion mark over the course of the summer. As we closed out our fiscal year, this is according to Jack Salmon, or is it Salmon? I don't know. It's spelled like you spelled salmon, the fish. Which I don't get that either with the L. That's something that irks me. I hate when there's silent letters. I'm totally opposed to silent letters. If you're going to put the freaking letter in, I want it. I need to hear it. But anyways, so from this time last year, we've added $1.9 trillion to the debt held by the public. In between June 24th of this year and September 15th of this year, so we have Trump, the Trumpsters in office for this, we have added $1.37 trillion to the debt held by the public. What the hell? It's just a little bit more. Let's just keep doing it. I remember when they had a problem with Reagan's debt, it was like $800 billion. When Obama took over, it was a crisis. I think it was like $9 billion at the time. Now it's in the 30s, and the debt held by the public, that means, I believe, by just Americans, it's 30 trillion, 1.37 trillion added. So what happens now is they have to pay interest on this debt, right? So when they're paying interest on the debt, that's money coming from the taxpayers. So that's money that's getting siphoned out of the economy so that they can pay down this debt, right? It's going, and it ends up going to things that the original dollar earners don't want. But the government keeps doing it. Trump, in his first term, said he was going to pay down the debt, balance the budget. Of course, he didn't. Of course, he's not going to this time either, because that's not what he does, and that's not what politicians want. Obama, before getting into office, said that continuing to raise the debt ceiling was unpatriotic, and then once he's in office, you better do it, right? That's what he did. And, and Trump keeps having it raised too. The big, beautiful bill, if there was ever an oxymoron, that's, of course, it. But the big, beautiful bill raised the debt ceiling once again. And folks, look, when the government's spending money, it's crowding out private investment. When the debt's going up, the interest on the debt has to be paid, which is siphoning money out of the taxpayers' hands, out of their private interest. This is not a good thing. Are we going to do something about it? If Persephone was American, I think she'd do something about it. I do. I really think so. Race Jacobson says, my kingdom for a Democrat who wants to cut spending. They'd get all the votes. I think that's from Richard III, Race. I'm pretty sure you don't have a kingdom. He wanted a kingdom. He was going to give up his kingdom for a horse so that it could save his life. You're looking for a Democrat, but you don't have a kingdom, and there are no Democrats that want to cut spending. In the play, there was actually a horse, and he actually had a kingdom. You see what I mean? It's kind of like that 6 of one, half a dozen of the other thing we talked about earlier. Now, I love Race, and I'm hoping that this doesn't affect the thumbnail that he should be getting to me. Hopefully, he already sent it, and that way, if he's mad, he has 24 hours to recover from his anger, and I will get the... he already sent it! Race already sent it. It's a great one, too. This is... Oh, my goodness. He's got Donald Trump looking like an ogre with a caveman club. Race, you are the freaking bomb. Sometimes Ray sends me thumbnails that are a little inappropriate, and I have to tell him, let's just dial it down a little bit. But they're great. Usually they're great. Race is great. Persephone wants to chime in on the discussion. She says Trump has used the word rigged or similar in public statements at least 1,000 times, over 500 mentions on Truth Social alone. Persephone, what I want to know is what were they referenced to going back to the 80s? What did he say was rigged against him? Can you do that for me, hon, please? Thank you. All right, let's get this mailed to me. Actual size. Now I can do that. I got some information about a webcam. All right. Oh, here was the other thing, and I'm glad I just looked at this. So, Trump was asked, did he instruct the Justice Department to go after Jim Comey, John Bolton, Letitia James? And he said, absolutely not. I no, did not do that. He said we went after him because it was the right thing to do. I don't have to tell the Justice Department to do that. They know what to do. They're good people. We have good people. Okay, so on September 20th, 2025, I believe it was 5 days before the first indictment, Trump texted this out, Pam, for Pam Bondi. I have reviewed over 30 statements and posts saying that essentially same old story as last time. All talk, no action. Nothing's being done. What about Comey, Adam Shifty Schiff, Letitia with question marks. So we're going to base indictments on who the comments on Truth Social think should be indicted. Sounds like a good plan. And he says they're all guilty as hell, but nothing is going to be done. Then we almost put a Democrat-supported U.S. attorney in Virginia. Okay, so he goes on and on and on here. But then at the end he says, they impeached me twice and indicted me 5 times over nothing. Justice must be served now. No, he never instructed them to go after anybody. Not at all. Nothing to see here, folks. Just the president of the United States, first calling for the indictments of people, then blatantly lying about it to a reporter. But no, he's should not be taken seriously. He doesn't mean that. These people are guilty. Trump has done nothing wrong. He's the greatest. We love him. We want to kiss his big orange ass. That's what they want to do. That's not what I want to do. I wonder if his ass is actually orange, but I suppose that would mean that he'd be having to put that, whatever he puts on his face, all over his ass, unless he has somebody that does that job for him. And I've got to tell you, I don't really think a lot of people are going to be volunteering for that job. I said if you paid me a G, I'd grow the mustache. There's nothing you're paying me to handle that. Let me just tell you that right off the bat. But yeah, and he said they knew they were so good they knew to go after him, but the prosecutors refused. People resigned, for God's sake, because they didn't want to go follow what he wanted them to do, to indict these people. They resigned. They ended up having to go get some, I think she's an insurance lawyer who represented Trump. They threw her in there. The judge told her, what the hell? I've never seen anything this sloppy. Yeah, Trump, you have all the best people, and they all were just gung-ho to go after this. You said nothing about it. The man is a freaking liar. Liar, 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 liar. I don't care how many times they defend him. I don't care how many times they call him a hero. Yes, that's a shot at my friend Andy Bernstein. He's not a hero. He's not a good president. He's not a good human being. He is a scumbag, right? And Jenna Clean, you know what they used to call scumbags back in your day, right? All right. But I got to move on to the next thing here. Where am I going? Why am I getting all these emails? Okay, we don't want to look at that. I got distracted, sorry. Oh, yeah. Well, Trump is warning Nigeria about that we're going to end all aid to them, and they should prepare for possible military action because I guess there's a big thing. They're murdering Christians over there. It is absolutely horrible, what goes on over there. But I thought Trump was a non-interventionist and he was the peace president. Again, a lie. So there's that. There's this fight right now within, I don't know if it's all within MAGA, but it's within the broad, right-wing Republican MAGA conservative thing. And it has to do with Tucker Carlson, the likes of Candace Owens, this Nick Fuentes, the gripers as they call him, which as far as I can tell is a bunch of losers sitting in the, maybe I shouldn't say this because I live in my friend's basement, but they live in their parents' basement, and they text horrible things about Jews and think they're clever. And Nick Fuentes is evidently their hero. I've heard it said that he's a gay Mexican. I don't know if that's true. But if so, it's a bit strange, the things that he says and takes up. But nevertheless, there's this big fight over there. People are saying that, nobody should be platforming these guys. They don't want to be uniting with them. They don't want to team up with them. And then there's these other folks saying, yes, we're going to. Dave Smith, my favorite, he actually said today, let me just find it here. Dave Smith says, so all the worst people in the country gathered together to attack the great Tucker Carlson. I'll be doing a show about it tomorrow. I think he canceled that show. He says, you will cancel Tucker Carlson over all of our dead fucking bodies. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're not going to go to that extent, Dave. I'm pretty confident. He says, you war-thirsty scumbags have ruined everything for 25 years at least, and you will never kill the awakening of the American people, which is way overdue. The awakening of the American people is to follow a guy who says demons attack him in his sleep, a guy who on Joe Rogan said nobody believes in evolution anymore, the guy who says that there's demons flying around the country. You mean that guy? That's the awakening? If people wake up to that, that's my nightmare. It's bad enough as it is, right? But Tucker, I'm just asking questions. Carlson, who anytime someone says anything, who thinks he has to question everything that any Jew has ever done. But Nick Fuentes goes on his show and says that he's a big fan of Joe Stalin and it's crickets. That Tucker Carlson, that's the great one? Really? Tucker Carlson, who on the air defended Trump, but in private said Trump was no good and he can't wait till he's gone. That guy? That's the great Tucker Carlson, Dave? You know, I made a post about this, but I'm going to say it now. I would love to know the standard by which Dave judges somebody to be great, right? I know the answer. The answer is his feels. He feels it. Or he's just lying. That could be the case too. You don't really know what these people. So then he says, I challenge all of you to debate this topic. And I mean all of you, Graham, Cruz, Fine, Levin, and whoever else you want to bring against little old non-expert me. I'll wreck all of you. But unfortunately, we all know you're all too pussy to accept. Not a single one of you are man enough to defend your ideas. I'm man enough. I'll debate you, Dave. I'd be happy to debate you, Dave. Whenever I've challenged you to debate, though, you tell me I'm not important enough, and then your legion of deluded followers come out to say that I'm clout chasing. So if I offered to debate Dave, that's clout chasing. Dave challenges senators to debate him, and they're pussies if they won't accept. Do you see the reasoning process that goes on here? When somebody won't debate him, they're a pussy. When he won't debate someone, the person's clout chasing or not important enough. Luckily, I posted that I'd be happy to debate him. I wish all you people would go there, share the post, comment on it. I mean, let's just do some more. He's been exposed, but let's expose him some more. Let's expose these people. These, as they've been called, woke right people. The people who are fighting for the right. Not a single one of you are man enough to defend your ideas, he says. I am. I assure you, I am. You're wrong. Tucker Carlson is not great. He's actually horrible. Nick Fuentes is horrible. Candace Owens is horrible. And your arguments, Dave, are not rational. Period. So if you'd like to, and, I'll even go so far just to guarantee that I can't be accused of clout chasing, I'll debate you in private. You don't even have to publicize it. Would not even have to publicize it because the two of us would know what happened, and that would be quite enough. That would be enough. I would be so thrilled about that. And yes, he did get shellacked by Coleman Hughes' race. You're absolutely correct. Anyway, I got another email. Oh, Persephone. Okay. We're going to have a quick digression here. And this goes back to the other day. What does that mean anyway, the other day? Does that mean yesterday? Can't be, because that's yesterday. The day before? How far back goes the other day? These are things that I need to know. Okay. List of things Trump has claimed were rigged against him. You ready, folks? 1, the 2016 primaries. He claimed the Republican primary process, especially delegate allocation in the Colorado caucuses, was rigged by the GOP establishment. He also, I remember, said Iowa was rigged because he lost Iowa. He said that the general election was rigged against him, and that's why he did not get the popular vote. The 2020 presidential election, of course, he said. Let's see. There's all this stuff, but I want to go back. Okay. He alleged that the Emmy Awards were rigged against him in 2012. He said that he should have been given the Time Person of the Year in 2015, so that was rigged against him. He's claimed that the IRS audits was rigged in a target of him in 2015. He's repeatedly said that the economic data are rigged against him. He said that social media platforms have been rigged against him, that golf tournaments have been rigged against him, and that public health has been rigged against him. And I don't think that's a complete list. So forgive my skepticism when he says an election is rigged against him, because every time he loses, and there's stuff that had to do with his real estate businesses and court cases, whenever he loses, he claims it's rigged against him. But the people who won't debate Dave Smith are pussies? Really? Really? All right. I guess when you want to delude yourself, when you want to believe something, you can convince yourself of it. Again, the man is not a hero. Heroes take responsibility. Heroes are accountable. When heroes lose, they don't make excuses. They go forward and they try better the next time. When Trump loses, he whines, he cries, he complains. Not a hero. Not a hero. Tucker Carlson, not great. But I guess if the deluded, the liars, and the uninformed want to continue to make the claims, if they say it enough, maybe then it becomes true. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. So, laid back pedal pusher. I don't know what a pedal pusher is. Oh, I guess you're riding like a cart or something of some sort. A bike, maybe. What do you mean, no? Persephone, you know about this? So let me just see. I think that we've got some comments. The conspiratorialists have nothing on this man, says Greg Lewis. Our pen Mark says, once upon a time, Tucker Carlson worked for CNN and was fairly normal. You know what? I used to watch, not Hardball, but Chris Matthews' show on Sundays. And Tucker would sometimes be a guest. He would also be a guest sometimes on the Sunday shows. And I always thought he was very reasonable. Even when I disagreed, whatever, I thought, oh, this guy makes solid points. I don't know what happened. I don't know if he's gone nuts or if he just is always willing to just say whatever he thought was going to make him the, the big mamu, as Cosmo Kramer referred to it. Okay, let's see if we got any more stories, because if not, you people are going to have to spice up this conversation and in a hurry. Okay, we do have one more story. The Supreme Court on Wednesday is going to decide on the constitutionality of the Donald's tariffs. Trump is claiming that he has emergency powers to do them. The problem is that Article 1, Section 8 delegates the... Oh, I'm very confused now. What the hell? Nicole Hingle interrupted me to tell me about pedal pushers are calf length pants. Oh, the court case on Wednesday. Article 1, Section 8 of the United States Constitution delegates the tax power to Congress, not to the president, but President Trump has unilaterally imposed all these tariffs. So on Wednesday, we are going to find out if these Supreme Court judges are in fact the originalists that they have claimed to be. We're going to see if they are opposed to legislating from the bench, which they have criticized as long as I've been paying attention. We're going to find out. I think that Ilya Soman, who's been on my show, the the rational egoist, quite a few times, is, one of the lawyers in this case that's suing the Trump administration. So let's see. Let's hope that the Supreme Court does the right thing and abolishes these ridiculous tariffs. Jenna Kleem tells me, don't forget the disclaimer. Yes, the views expressed here are my own. They are not those of the American Capitalist Party, although I am the vice chairman of the American Capitalist Party. It's quite interesting to me that less than 3 years out of prison, I've been the spokesperson for the Libertarian Party of Connecticut, and now I am the vice chairman of the American Capitalist Party. Not bad for a guy fresh out of a 25-year stint in the big house, I gotta say. Plus, I have this great show, another great show, beautiful women like Persephone fawning all over me. So it's all a very, it's a very, very nice thing. They actually have women out there that get on the internet and look for guys in prison to write to. How sick is that? Out of all the things you can do, you're let me see if I can write to some convict. That'd be great. The most vile, reprehensible, the better. Maybe they'll tell me some real sick things. And guys in prison are yeah, I want to write to her. What are you, crazy, dude? Who the hell wants to write someone like that? Where is that woman's self-esteem where she's looking for convicts to write to? Not convicts that she knows now, just random convicts. Oh, look at this. Oh, yes, I think that... who's this Dahmer fellow? Maybe I'll give him a note and see what he has to say. Katie Ellis finds that very funny. Pedal drive kayaks and recumbent trikes. Laid back pedal pusher. I was right. Persephone was wrong. She was shaking her head like a mad woman about how dumb I was. She basically was giving me the finger. I was right. I got it. Matter of fact, let's get her up here. See how she covers her face? Ha! You all caught her. That's what she does. That's what she does while I'm talking. She does like this. She starts giggling. The eyes light up. It's happening right now in real time. I'm so happy that everybody can see it, even though Greg Lewis misspelled Dahmer. So, Persephone, what did you think pedal pushers were? I'm just curious.
I know what pedal pushers are. They are also a type of pant. They're a type of pants that like comes to mid-calf.
Okay, that's mid-calf?
Calf?
Mid-calf?
I'm sorry, mid-calf?
That's much better, but I like cough much better. You sound so sophisticated. People with that accent, I say it's a British accent, say it's South African, whatever. It sounds so sophisticated. When you watch British shows, they just sound so smart. You come out with that accent and you sound smart.
I mean...
You don't sound smart when you go, that doesn't do it. Just talk. Speak a few sentences. But I will say this, Persephone, is that you intimated that I was wrong. You didn't intimate that the word had two meanings. So you're kind of switching it up here now. You're pulling a Pellegrino on me.
Never. I would never do that. I'm always correct.
Always? Let's see.
Always.
What is a pedal?
Are you going to Google what a pedal pusher is?
I am.
I was Googling whether Jeffrey Dahmer had, like, how many pen pals Jeffrey Dahmer had. Because I know for a fact he had a bunch.
Well, according to this, pedal pushers are just the pants.
It's the Queen's English. Well, kind of.
Who's a woman? He says, Greg Lewis says she's a woman.
Who's a woman?
I think you. I hope she's talking about you and not maybe a friend of mine. That's a guy. But either way, Nicole Hingle's not having this. She wants our thoughts on the government shutdown. Do they have that in South Africa, Persephone? Does the government ever get shut down?
I don't remember there being a government shutdown in my lifetime. We do have a lot of strikes, though.
What does that mean?
It's when government workers go and riot in the streets. But not the actual government. Sort of people who work for the government.
But not the actual government.
No, not the
So you're talking about basically, what are they, unionized, the government workers?
Yeah, basically. So they'll go and peacefully protest in the streets, except it's never peaceful, and it often turns quite violent. That's happened, but I don't remember there ever being like an actual government shutdown in my lifetime.
Okay, well, Diana says capris are pedal pushers. Yeah, that's what Grok said as well. But according to the person who actually posted that she's a pedal pusher, it's a kayak of some sort. I've never been kayaking. I want to go kayaking.
So go kayaking.
It's winter. It's winter over here. We can't. And Diana was supposed to take me, but she didn't because she's too important with other things, her job and, that sort of thing. So my thoughts on the government shutdown are really, I don't know. Yeah, Diana says she's been kayaking plenty. Wonderful. What is that, a cricket? Do you have a cricket over there, Persephone?
No, it's the windy season. So the wind is blowing through my window and it's just squeaking because I live in an old house.
Did you just say it's the windy city? Say that again.
It's the windy season.
Season, not city. Chicago is the windy city. So my thoughts on the government shutdown are a lot of it is just, what's the word I'm looking for? Posturing. people trying to appear principled when they're really not. I don't like, I'm not, I'm opposed, of course, to SNAP and all that stuff, but I don't like to see people go hungry who have been, who are dependent on these things. I don't know when they're going to end it. I don't know what's going to happen. I just think that everything's out of control and something needs to happen. They need to elect me president and I will fix everything. Persephone, I'll bus her in and make her the vice president. She will be ecstatic. Maybe her husband will kill me for bringing her to America. That's always a possibility. But that's it. Okay, Persephone, before I kick you out, do you have any more thoughts on any of these rich topics? We have to give Persephone a chance to speak. Yes, Nicole, virtue signaling nonsense. And I'm not opposed to virtue signaling, by the way. Virtue signaling that's real virtue signaling. That's meant to demonstrate to others that you are virtuous, that you are safe and smart to deal with. But trying to pose as a virtue signaler, trying to demonstrate virtues that you do not have and have not earned, I have a serious problem with. Okay, Persephone, go ahead. Let's lay it on us.
So my thought about the SNAP benefits and this just being cut, do you think that there should have been a more gradual cutting of that, seeing as it's how long it's been? I can't think of the word. How long people have had that to just cut it suddenly? Do you think that there should have been like a more gradual easing of that?
My personal opinion, and this is not the opinion of the American Capitalist Party, I'm an incrementalist, right? I am all for looking for ways to get from here to there. I think it would be a disaster to if we just went tomorrow, like say you asked me, Michael, what's your ideal society? And I laid it out for you. I told you all that, what I thought the government should be doing, not doing. If we just went from where we are here to there, it'd be a disaster. There's too many people dependent on government programs. The government does far too much, and it would be very, very bad. So I think that they should phase this stuff out. And I think there should be an announcement that they're phasing it out and then do so. Of course, they're not going to. They're just going to keep growing government more and more and more and more. But that would be my personal pref. Has anybody found out, has anyone coined the term Mamdani the commie?
So there was a Washington Post article when I Googled it, 29 minutes before I Googled it, and I actually sent this to you, where Trump has called Mamdani terrible, bad news, and a total nut job. Mamdani's fake communist promises. He's called him Mamdani the commie.
Oh, so no.
29 minutes before you said it, before I Googled it, that was in a Washington Post article. So
I came up with the same thing that Trump did?
Trump did, yes.
Oh, no. I hope I'm not.
Quite recently. That was.
I hope I'm not heading. I really hope I'm not going in that direction. I do not want to be a senile old orange man who lies a lot and craves power. I can't have that. That would be worse. That would be worse than having the Mark Pellegrino gray Ned Flanders porn stash.
No, he's that guy from Phineas and Ferb.
I think we need to have an argument about this, maybe?
I'm right. I'm sorry. If you look at the picture of that guy from Phineas and Ferb,
I've seen it.
That's Mark with the white hair and the mustache. That is Mark.
All right. What else you got, Persephone? Before I give this, what do I got to do now? I got to give a capitalist thought of the day. I got to give disclaimers. I got to tell people what to do. I got so much to do. Tell them where to go. Tell them where to go for the website. That's what you can do.
Okay, so go to the website, which is thecapitalistcorner.org. On the website, we have book recommendations, we have blogs, we have merch. You can also find the Capitalist Corner on Patreon. Every month, they do extra discussions, extra Q&As, and if you have any deep philosophical questions or political questions or any questions, you can drop a comment and get a response from Mark and Michael.
Persephone, you absolutely rock. Thank you so much for coming on with me. And now I'm going to unceremoniously boot you. What? Don't what?
Don't forget the positive thought of the day, because you have to end the show on a positive note,
Even when Mark's not here?
even when Mark's not here. Because I think everyone.
Okay, so hold on just a second.
Everyone needs some positiveness.
So Mark gets to institute a new policy that, by and large, I'm going to be responsible for implementing.
Yes. Well, you implemented a new policy that he was responsible for
What?
implementing.
Name one.
Question.
No, we both do that.
Yeah, but that was your idea.
Yeah, but we both do it. Okay, Persephone, you got to go. We'll talk after. Okay, so folks, check it out. I need you to do a lot of things. I need you to like this program. I need you to share it from YouTube to your favorite social media sites. I need you to subscribe to the show. You absolutely have to do that. That'd be wonderful. Check out my show, The Rational Egoist. Top-notch discussions. Always, I promise. I think I've done 270 something episodes. If you were to go back and watch every single episode I've done, I think you'd have the equivalent of a PhD easily. So you should definitely be doing that. Capitalist thought of the day. Let me tie two things together. Let me tie in the capitalist thought of the day with the positive thought of the day. So the other day, I made a post and I asked, is there, a capitalist personality? And what I meant is there a type of person that would be more apt to support capitalism? And I figured, self-reliant, a lot of energy, takes responsibility for her life or his life, that sort of thing. I would also add a positive attitude, an optimistic attitude, because you are optimistic about the benefits that freedom will bring, and they will. And even now, while we're not where we need to be and we're a long way, but even in the United States of America today, we have relative freedom, right? We have, I have the freedom to drive where I want, walk where I want, and I have the ability to make these arguments. There are things that we can be optimistic about. The fact that we all get together and have these conversations on a daily basis. We get to join up. You get to interact with me. You get to interact with Mark. I get to interact with you. We get to joke with Persephone. These are all freedoms that we still have, and we need to cherish them, and we need to fight for them, and we need to expand them, and we can do it. We can make the most out of our lives. We can do so while advocating for capitalism, through advocating for capitalism, and when capitalism is implemented, we will have more freedom, more things to be optimistic about. The future can indeed be bright. Ayn Rand, and I'm not going to quote because I don't want to butcher it, but she said to the effect of, and if I quote, I'm sorry, but she basically said that those who fight for the future live in it now. That is absolutely true. All right, folks, that's the thought of the day. What's the question? What should I ask you? My question is this. What are some reasons to be optimistic about the future? Please go to YouTube, leave the comments. Comment on YouTube. It helps with the algorithm. Please do it. The question is, what are some things that we have to be optimistic about? All right, folks, I'm taking off. It's a little bit early, 2 minutes. I'll get you back on the flip side. Thank you so much, everybody. It's been a great day. And in honor of Mark Pellegrino, please remember to check your premises. Peace.